that come out?
No. You're stuck. Sorry.
You're painting me into a corner.
Yeah.
Painting me into a tiny house.
Show man.
I ran out. I need like 1.5 more strips to finish this wall, and I have a couple of pieces of scrap wood, but it's gonna leave like these gaps. It's not gonna look as good, so it's pretty fun to work with. Like it's relatively easy, you know. You keep everything lined up, you take your time, and it kind of comes together once you get on a roll. We did make a trip specifically up to Santa Fe to go to Home Depot yesterday to pick up more of this stuff, and the website said they had 47 packages. They come in packages of 6 in stock. We got up there, got to the aisle, and there was not a single one there. So for some reason the website was wrong. Maybe someone had just come in and cleaned them out. I'm gonna have to go to a different Home Depot to pick up more of this stuff. And we are gonna need quite a bit more of that cedar tongue and groove though, because we're gonna do this whole part of the ceiling above the loft in that same material. I think we're gonna save the ceiling stuff though for a little later. Right now, my main focus is to finish up with these walls. I have a little bit more of this 1/4-inch plywood, so I gotta do this back corner, the bathroom, and then the loft area. Hopefully that'll be the last, at least the last major stretch of me having to screw into the galvanized steel frame. And once we finish that, I wanna move on to the thing that I am the most excited about, which is building the stairs, the custom stairs that are gonna go up to the loft area. But first things first, I gotta finish these walls. I don't think I've mentioned these in a video yet as well, but I did recently build them. I mean, you just buy the parts from Home Depot and then screw them all together. It's really not much building. Funny story though, I specifically made these because I was getting to the point where I was a little worried that one of us was gonna like break our ankle. We were just climbing up on cinder blocks trying to get into the tiny house. I was just like jumping up into it. Like as I was building it, I was about to finish up putting it together, and I hadn't quite mounted it to the house yet. I went to walk up them, and the stairs collapsed from underneath me, guys. I ended up smashing my leg straight into the side of the door. It was one of the most painful injuries I've had in a while, and you know, fortunately it really wasn't that bad. Like I'm walking, I'm totally fine. Maybe have like a little bone bruise going on, but like I've been okay. But in the moment, it was not fun. Like it was pretty brutal. So I just thought it was kind of ironic that I was specifically building these to prevent injury, and right as I was finishing them up, I got injured. But Shannon did a nice job staining them this morning, and you know, I think they're gonna work out for a long time for us, and I assume now that it's screwed in and mounted with brackets that it's safer than what we had before. Another day passed. Not quite 100% done with the walls, but I do have every piece cut. I'm gonna have to cut out these 3 remaining windows, get them screwed in, do the furring strips, and then it'll be done. And I am very much so looking forward to that moment. Finally getting all this green covered up and moving on to get these pieces in up here, and it's coming along, guys. It's just, as usual, taking a little bit longer than I thought. Shannon's always reminding me of the importance of keeping a clean job site. It's kind of tough to do. I tend to let things get a little out of hand from time to time. It's not easy to keep everything super organized when you're working on a bunch of different projects at the same time. But she definitely has a point, so I'm going to spend a little while this morning just cleaning everything up, getting it good to go so that we are ready to start building these stairs. And then we won't have to use this ladder anymore, which I'm really looking forward to. Feels pretty good to have like visible progress in here. I was getting so sick of looking at that stupid green insulation. It's nice that it's all covered up now and we can move on to the next steps. Obviously there's a lot more to do in this tiny house. I gotta trim out all the windows and make everything pretty and all that. Shannon has some ideas for covering up our seams in the walls and all that, ceiling as well, but it's pretty nice to like actually have progress here. And now we are moving on to the thing that I'm probably the most excited about with this tiny house build. I'm going to be building custom stairs that are going to go up to the loft. It's essentially going to be a custom piece of cabinetry, and maybe that's why I'm so excited about it. You know, it's going to be kind of my mark on the tiny house. It'll be sort of a feature piece as you walk in. You're not going to be able to miss it. It'll serve the purpose of storing a bunch of stuff, pretty much everything we own. I'm gonna have my desk here underneath, and I'm gonna have some storage for like my camera gear and stuff in there, and then our fridge is gonna go right here. We have already picked out the fridge. It's actually in the closet, directly to the left of the camera right now. Should fit in this space perfectly. And then down here will just be more storage. We're gonna have a couple of big drawers for pots, pans, and random kitchen appliances, stuff like that. I am ready to get started on this, guys. I know I've already said it, I'm super excited about it. The truck is loaded up with a bunch of half-inch plywood. I just gotta drive it over here and start unloading it and go to town. I should probably check with Shannon first, though. I think I'm gonna get her in here and just make sure that we're on the same page before I start cutting up that plywood.
Smells so good in here. What are you working on?
Just moved all these pieces of plywood in, and I just want to make sure that before I start cutting and stuff that we have we're on the same page, you know. Okay, so we weren't exactly on the same page, but I think we're good now. Glad I didn't start building anything before we talked. Before we do anything though, this afternoon, we're gonna try to get the couch in here. We're actually gonna take the couch that is currently in the cabin and put it into the tiny house. It's like the perfect size for this corner right where all my tools are. So I'm gonna move these out of the way and hopefully we can get that loaded in. Once that's in here, we're gonna have to cut out a little notch for the wheel well here, slide it up against and lock it into place. I mean, it's not going to move from that point, and then I can build the stairs knowing exactly how much space I have to work with. Do you guys make those noises when you pick it up?
Well, we did not this time.
Here we go. Oh, it's me and all that. Couch is in. Pretty easy, didn't have to build anything. This was just in the cabin previously, the previous owner of the cabin. I want to say she like had it built or possibly built it herself. It's definitely like a kind of like a self-made or DIY kind of custom piece of furniture. It is really nice though, it's well built overall, and it does have a couple of drawers underneath, so we'll have all that storage. And then it has a really comfortable mattress as well. Shannon is actually taking a nap on it right now as I'm recording this on the floor of the cabin. We just have it in there temporarily. But once we get it in here, it's going to make for an extra bed. It's basically going to be like a day bed, a guest bed. If anyone comes and stays with us or whoever's renting this place, if they have 3 people or 4 people, it'll be a lot easier to sleep everyone in here. I do have to notch out this little section right here in order to make it fit snugly up against the wall. There's the wheel well there. It's pretty small, maybe about 6 or 8 inches or so, but I will have to get a little creative with that so that we can get it and push it back and not lose that space, because it is, you know, it's a few inches of space that we would lose if we didn't do that. And I know that things would just get lost back there. It would just be not a good space to have. So I want to get that sorted out. And I will say that this video, I was really planning to do a video basically specifically about the stairs this week. I thought that was what was going to be most of this video here, but I got caught up with, you know, the walls and finishing, and then I ended up doing tongue and groove in the bathroom as well, and that kind of took over quite a bit of time. And then I went on my trip to Texas, which I know I talked about in last Friday's video. This upcoming Friday will be all about that. It was an awesome trip, guys. I can't wait to share that with y'all. But you know, it definitely it caught up to me. All the time, I guess, kind of caught up to me, and now we're almost in real time. I mean, it's Sunday evening as I'm recording this right now. This video goes live on Tuesday morning, so I got to edit it and get it out to you guys within the next, I don't know, 36 hours or so. So I'm pretty happy with where we are with everything. We're definitely making progress in here, which is really, really nice to see. And then the biggest thing is doing these stairs. I know I mentioned that earlier. That's something that I'm very excited about, and can't wait to get started. I guess that will be part of the next Tiny House Tuesday video. So 2 weeks from today, I figure that video will be mostly about building these stairs and getting a safe way to get up and down from the loft, and obviously all the storage and everything that's going to come along with that. I did want to answer one other question before ending this video. A few folks asked about wiring and electrical and outlets and everything like that. Obviously, I've now finished all of the walls in here, so there's no more access. So folks noticed that we didn't have any outlets or anything like that, and that's just because we didn't want to deal with fishing wire through the green spray foam insulation. Everything is going to be exposed. We're going to have conduit running. You're not really going to be able to see most of it because basically everything's going to be all furniture, right? The stairs are going to be on this side here, which I've been talking about a couple of times in this video, and then over here, it's going to be all countertop. This is going to all be the kitchen. So any wiring that we do run, it's going to be mostly underneath there anyways. And then some of the conduit will go through the ceiling underneath the loft as well. And then there'll be a couple of spots where we're going to have a couple of lights. I think Shannon calls them sconce lights. I believe that's what they're called. And then up here, we're going to have a ceiling fan right above my head, and that's going to drop down. So you'll be able to see the exposed conduit running up. But that's kind of the style that we're going for. We've noticed that, like in a lot of like the restaurants and stuff around here, they have a lot of that exposed conduit. And they also have the aluminum corrugated metal ceilings as well, which is something that we took inspiration from in a couple of nearby restaurants. So we're excited about trying that out. That'll all be part of a future video, though. Like I've said a couple of times here, I am very much so looking forward to the stairs and then moving on to the next steps in here. There's still plenty to do. You know, we definitely have at least a few more months of work ahead of us before we can officially move in, and I'm looking forward to that day, but I'm also looking forward to just the process of really starting to finish this thing up. And it really does feel good to actually have visible progress and be able to see some things getting done in here. So I can't thank you all enough for watching, for following along. I will talk to you all on Friday. It's basically just playing musical chairs in here, except with tools and garbage.